Okay, so here's the kit. Currently, I'm using a Pearl Vision drum kit, which was kindly loaned to me by my friend Callie, who is our stage tech. So for that was just for this tour, just because my drum kit is actually orange. And if you take a look around here, the red and black kind of logo wouldn't really go that well with orange. Now, first things first, I'm going to start with sticks. I currently use Collision 5B drumsticks. I'm endorsed by Collision, and they're a great company based in the UK. Please check those guys out because they work really hard, and you know, they're worth every penny. Now, starting with the drums, my snare drum is a Yamaha Birch Custom. It's a 14-inch drum by 6.5 depth. I really like it. I've had it for years, and it's done me a really good job over the years, and it's also turquoise and I quite like the finish. The actual drums themselves is a 12-inch rack tom and then a 14-inch floor tom. I'm using currently a Code Sterling drum head. Code drum heads are fantastic, you should really check them out. And also on these toms I've got Code Law drum heads as well, which are really heavy duty. The kick is 22 by 22, I believe. Now onto hardware. I actually use, for the most part, Mapex hardware, Mapex cymbal stands. I just find that they're really durable, really strong, especially the Mapex Armory series, which I actually just got this one just last week. Really heavy duty, and the cymbal stands just don't go anywhere. And as I said earlier, I'm a very heavy hitter, so having stands that just don't go anywhere is an absolute godsend. There are a couple of Gibraltar kind of cymbal arm attachments, and those are absolutely fantastic just for little effect cymbals, but on the whole I use Mapex hardware. On to cymbals. I currently use a mix of Meinl and Stagg cymbals. I'm currently moving away from Meinl for the sheer fact of, you know, I do tend to hit and break cymbals fairly regularly. It doesn't really matter on the actual brand, I just seem to do that. I'm a very heavy hitter. So for me, obviously replacing cymbals, you know, left, right and center isn't that cost effective. So you know, with obviously some of the bigger brands, that's going to cost you quite a lot. Whereas with Stagg, it doesn't break the bank. Now from the left to the right, I've got a pair of Meinl Byzance medium hi-hats. Absolutely love these things, they're really nice. Got a nice kick on them, but also they work really well for heavy music. Just under here I've actually got a Stagg 8-inch mini China. This is more of an effect, cymbals for accents and things. I really like it, and it works really well with the type of music that Frontier and Section play. Onto the first crash, I've actually got a Stagg 18-inch Exo thin medium crash. Absolutely love this thing. It's really dark, but it's very brazen and in your face. I really like that. I also like the finish on the bell. Just makes it look really cool. So I love that cymbal. To its right, we've also got a Stagg double hammered 8-inch Exo medium splash. This is the same series as the crash, and it just sounds absolutely fantastic in conjunction with the double hammered China there. Moving on to my ride cymbal now. This is an interesting one. It's a 24-inch pure metal ride by Meinl, MB20, one of the older series. It is cracked, but the actual bell on this thing is still fantastic. I really like it. But moving on to that, I've got a Stagg Classic Series 19-inch thin crash. Absolutely love this thing. It's very similar to, I'd say, the Zildjian Avidas kind of range. It's very thick, even though it says it's a thin crash. But the Classic Series, they're all fairly thick, but it's got a lot of body and a lot of depth. And if you check out any of the future videos, I'm going to be using this thing a hell of a lot. So please feel free to check that out. Lastly but not least, I've got a 17-inch Stagg double hammered China. This thing is absolutely fantastic. I love it. I went for a 17 because I've been playing 18s for years, and I just wanted to try something a little bit different, just something that maybe has a little bit more cut, a bit of a higher tone, and this thing is working wonders. So I would highly suggest, if you're looking at getting into Stagg cymbals, the double hammered, the DH series are really accessible, really great sounding range, and I'm definitely going to be adding to my collection very soon. Now on to pedals. Now I know this is a point of contention for a lot of drummers, and there's obviously a lot of debate going around all the time, basically just seeing if one style, direct drive, chain drive, belt drive, whichever is better. What I've always found is the Iron Cobras are absolutely fantastic. For me, they're chain driven. I've had these things for years. I use the wood beaters because it just gives me a nice clicky sound. The actual springs are still very responsive, hadn't had to replace those, and just generally it's an absolutely fantastic pedal. It's a workhorse, and even for the faster session stuff that I do, this works wonders. So I really like this pedal, and I think that chain drive is absolutely fantastic. I am maybe going to look at getting another pedal at some point in the future, but for now these things are absolutely fantastic. Now on the subject of feet and pedals, I'd just like to give a quick shout out to the company from the States called Vratim. Now they actually make dedicated drumming shoes. As you can see, I've got the pair of camo shoes. They look absolutely awesome, but they're really thin soled, and I can feel everything that's happening on my pedals at all time. So these are really fantastic. I wasn't even aware that drumming shoes was even a thing, but these are fantastic. And if you are a drummer, I would really strongly recommend going and checking these guys out, because they work really hard, and they make some absolutely fantastic drumming products. They have a whole bunch of t-shirts and things that I've also got for this tour, which they very kindly sent me. So big shout out to Vratim, and I'm going to be using their shoes for many years to come. On to effects. Now I'm actually a bit late to the party. I bought this Roland SPDS sampling pad late last year for the last Frontier Euro Tour. Now I haven't had it for a very long time. I'm still getting to grips with it, but for what I use it for, it's mainly just sub drops. As you can see, there's a few kind of label samples on there, but it's very useful, and I really wouldn't go back. I wouldn't swap it out for anything else, because I love the sense of being totally in control of your practical effects, rather than relying on a MIDI click track with sub drops built into them. So whatever tempo I'm playing at, I can just sample away.